Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a cowboy. I've always loved cowboys. They were my hero. They were everything to me. And when I got my very first cowboy hat, my life changed forever. Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Gear Up. Today we are going to be talking about the positives and negatives for wearing a cowboy hat if you want to be wearing a cowboy hat every day. So I'm going to throw you guys the positives, the negatives, and you guys just make your decisions from there. Also, I would love to hear how many of you actually wear a cowboy hat. I would love to hear that. Are you guys like me and wear it all the time? Or do you just wear it like once in a while, like when you go out dancing or something like that? And just a quick note, this video is not for the guy who's looking for a cowboy hat just because he's going dancing or going to the Calgary Stampede or going to a wedding or something. This is the video for people who want to be wearing a cowboy hat all the time. They love the tradition, they love the culture, and they want to be wearing this hat. So I'm gonna go over some of the negatives, some of the positives, and hopefully this will give you guys a little bit more clarity on cowboy hats in general. So I'm gonna go over the negatives first, and that is, one of them is expense. They are not cheap. Now I know what you're thinking. I have seen cowboy hats for anywhere from $20 to $100, and that's not bad at all, right? That is true. See, before we kind of go into expense, I gotta go into the difference between a straw hat, which is this one here, and a felt hat, which is this guy here. Straw hats are for your summertime, felt hats is for your fall, winter, and springtime. And so when it comes to straw hats, you don't have to worry so much on expense, at least in my opinion. I paid, I think, $50 for this hat. It's perfect, it works throughout the summer, I don't have to worry about it. Felt hats is where you're going to want to not shy away from expense. This is my very first cowboy hat I ever had, and I wore it to the ground. Every single day, this has been on my head as soon as I left the door. Problem is that it could not handle what I put it through. This is a cheap felt. Now I wish I learned this ahead of time. So that being said, you don't want to cheap out on this, on getting a felt hat in particular. Again, if you're going dancing or you're going to the Calgary Stampede, you just want a cheap hat, yes, go on Amazon, buy that $90, 2X felt hat. But if you are looking at actually wearing this hat all the time, like I do, you're going to want to look for a much, much, much higher grade, hat. It's going to be an investment. It's not so much a one and done purchase. It is a very expensive item, but it's going to outlast you. This guy did not outlast me because he is a very cheap felt hat. And again, it's something I kind of wish I knew a little earlier. So that is one of the negatives, is that it is going to be expensive starting off. The other negative is that, well, for me it's not a negative, but for some people it can be. You're going to be wearing this hat all the time. If you're buying an expensive hat, why aren't you wearing it every single day? See, for me, as often as I put on my jeans, I have my cowboy hat on me. As soon as I leave the door, this hat stays on me all the time. And that's kind of the kicker. Either felt or straw, or if you do both, you're going to be wearing this hat all the time, even the times where you may not want to. But it is, I don't know, it gives you a sense of purpose, I guess. It makes you feel good about yourself. So it may be a negative to some, but you are going to be wearing this hat all the time. It's going to become a part of you, right? When people see me, when my friends see me, there's very, very rare occasions where they'll see me without my cowboy hat. The only time you will ever see me without my cowboy hat typically is when I'm doing some kind of a sport, or hiking or fishing or hunting, those kind of things. Other than that, and maybe like the odd occasion where, I don't know, like let's say we're storm chasing or something like that, I probably won't wear my cowboy hat. Other than that, anytime you see me, for the most part, I'm wearing my cowboy hat. End of story. So I would highly encourage maybe thinking about if you're actually going to be wearing this all the time or not. And the last reason why you may not want to wear a cowboy hat is that there's actually rules that come to wearing a cowboy hat. It's something that I was unaware of, and somebody pointed out to me, and I'm thankful they did. There's actually a set of rules that you have when you're wearing a cowboy hat. For example, what do you do when you address a lady? What do you do when you walk into a private establishment, right? When do you switch out your cowboy hats between felt and straw? These are all questions and all rules and all these different things kind of surrounding it, and they're not necessarily tough, but you do have to know them and you do have to be aware of them. I'm still practicing them, You know, like for example, when I talk to a lady, I tip my hat. You know, it's something that you're supposed to do out of respect. It's just practicing, start implementing those, and they're gonna become more and more natural the more and more you do them. But there are some rules when it comes to wearing these hats. It's traditions more, it's kind of more like the unspoken rule. I know guys that don't do it, but I think it's appropriate to do if you're gonna actually be wearing this hat. And that's kind of thing is that you are gonna stand out a little bit. You know, tipping your hat to a lady is something that is very foreign in today's culture, but when you do it, most people feel respected. I've done it, I've never had a problem with somebody getting upset with me. In fact, if anything, I've had a lot of ladies thank me for that because it's something that they've never seen before. So it's just something to consider. Now for the positives, and this first one is probably my the thing I like the most about wearing a cowboy hat is that when I started wearing my cowboy hat, my life changed to an extent. I had a lot more respect for myself, and that's something that I struggled with very much being younger. I was not the coolest dude in the world, you might say, but after purchasing my cowboy hat, I felt this respect to myself, and I felt like I owed it to myself to make sure that what I'm doing is appropriate and what I'm doing brings, you know, honor, not shame to who I am. And I've talked to guys who wear cowboy hats all the time as well, just like me, and they say that they were even telling me themselves, their respect for themselves went way up. They, you know, held themselves better. They started doing things differently. And I can't guarantee that for everyone, but for most people that I talk to, they have a lot more genuine respect for themselves. And I think that's really cool to see that within all these gentlemen who wear cowboy hats. I think that's really neat. The other thing is, and I'm speaking kind of through experience because everybody keeps telling me this, but I'm so oblivious, I can't figure it out. Apparently the ladies love it. Anytime I go to a hockey game or go to a stampede or rodeo, or, you know, even just go to the store, apparently people are going to be checking you out a lot. Some people are going to judge you. Who cares about them? You know, you're better than that. Who cares about them? But apparently the ladies love it. Apparently. I have no clue. Everyone tells me, Naaman, she was checking you out. Hey, look at that. She was looking at you. It's like, okay, great. But you are going to be noticed in that way. So if that is a positive for you, it's a positive for you. And the last positive is you guys are going to be continuing the tradition of wearing a cowboy hat, of being a cowboy. And you don't even, in my opinion, you don't even have to be a cowboy to wear a cowboy hat, but just wearing it continues that tradition. Ever since cowboys first started, all the way up till today, the tradition kept going on. And now it rests on our shoulders. It rests on the Gen Zs and the millennials. You know, that generation, we're taking that forward, and hopefully our kids will start taking that forward as well. It's such a cool feeling, and I think it'd be really, again, it kind of goes back to the respecting yourself. It makes you feel much more, it gives you a responsibility, in other words. It gives you a responsibility that you owe to the cowboys back in the day. My grandpa was a cowboy, and I looked up to him more than anything. And now I'm doing this, it gives me a sense of purpose, if that makes sense. So you're going to be continuing the tradition on. You don't have to be a cowboy. It's just my opinion. You don't have to be a cowboy to wear a cowboy hat. I know some city slickers that wear a cowboy hat every day, and they say because they want to feel that same, you know, tradition. They want to feel like a cowboy, and so they wear their hat nonstop every day, and it makes me so happy to see. Anyways, hopefully this video has made you guys maybe consider getting a cowboy hat or not. Let me know if you do wear a cowboy hat every single day. I'm planning on doing a bunch of shorts on tips and tricks to do with all things cowboy, and hopefully that will even convince you guys even more. Hey, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you could do me a favor and give me a like and subscribe, that would be incredible. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. We'll talk to you later.